Fine lady, do you know that your body gives you signs when you're ovulating? Like your body gives you signs when you're ovulating. You don't always have to depend on, the apps and calendars just to know when you're ovulating. I'm not saying these apps and calendars are not good. They are very okay. But then they'll just give you an estimate. But then knowing these signs your body will give you, you can be able to know gone that you are ovulating or ovulation is about to come or you are done ovulating. So in this video, I'm going to be listing out 5 signs that your body gives you. As a lady, then you know that you are ovulating. And it's going to be very helpful. You don't need to really depend on the apps and calendars all the time. So stay tuned and make sure you learn. Welcome back to my channel, Nurse Quincy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, welcome back. So before I go into these 5 signs, I want us to understand what we refer to as fertile days, fertile window, fertile period, ovulating period. So fertile window, let me call it fertile window, is a period where pregnancy is most likely to occur. And this is due to what we call ovulation. So what is ovulation? Ovulation is referred to as when the ovary releases an egg, and then once egg is released, fertilization has to happen next. So how does this fertilization happen or occur? It occurs when the sperm meets or swims towards the egg, and then fertilization occurs. That's how the zygote, embryo, and then a baby is formed. Yes. So now moving over to these 5 signs. Number one, we have change in cervical mucus or discharge, whichever one will make you understand it better. Change in cervical mucus or discharge. So this particular sign, this number one I listed, is like the most important sign I want us to take note of. Like I'm very sure each and every one of us, or each and every one of every lady watching this, should have experienced or noticed this. This particular mucus or discharge is kind of very clear, is wet, is stretchy, is sticky, slippery. Yes. And then one thing about this particular change in mucus, this particular mucus and discharge, is that it helps, or should I say it aids the movement of sperm to locate the egg very, very fast. Very, very, very fast. But then please, I want you to also take note that this particular change in mucus or discharge doesn't always narrow, we don't always narrow it down to ovulation. Your body could be going through any other thing that could warrant this particular or type of discharge, but then it's very common during ovulation. Number two, we have a rise in basal body temperature. After ovulation, your body, the female body, produces, or should I say there's increase in progesterone. So this increase in progesterone kind of increases the body's basal temperature. So once there's an increase in the basal body temperature, but I want us to take note that this increase in basal body temperature takes place after ovulation. The first one I mentioned, which is change in cervical mucus, I said this particular mucus or this particular discharge, it takes place before ovulation or during ovulation. But then for this rise in basal body temperature, it occurs after ovulation. So you can be able to know when you're ovulating or when you're done ovulating. Then number three, we have increase in sexual drive or sexual desire in women. So during ovulation, it has been noticed that women kind of they get more interested in sex, or such a sexual urge. They have this kind of sexual urge during ovulation. Having sexual urge is not a sin. God Almighty created the body system. In fact, He created the body to be able to have this sexual urge. So there's an increase in sexual urge or drive during ovulation. But then not all women notice this. So even if you don't notice it, nothing is wrong with you. If you're noticing it, nothing is also wrong with you. There's an increase in, it has been noticed that there's an increase in sexual drive, or should I say sexual urge, in women during ovulation. Number four, we have ovulation pain, or we can call it mild ovulation. It's very mild in most people. It's very mild. Not all women experience this particular. Most times it's in the lower abdominal side or area. most kind it could be in one side, maybe in the left or in the right. Not all women experience this, but then there's sometimes ovulation, just mild ovulation pain. Maybe you've experienced it, or maybe someone you know have experienced it. So number five, moving to number five, the last but not the least, we have what we call change in the service, or should I say changes in the service. The service is like the canal through which a baby is born. So during ovulation, or during this fertile period and fertile window, the service, not all women actually notice this. Not all women actually notice it. You have not been paying attention to it at all, you won't notice it. So during this fertile period or fertile window, the cervix kind of gets softer, kind of moves higher, and then kind of opens up more. This happens because the body is kind of preparing itself for pregnancy. Whenever you're menstruating, ovulating, your body is kind of, telling itself that pregnancy could occur anytime, because during menstruation, egg is released, and then it's waiting for fertilization. So that's when, once it's not fertilized, fine. But if it's fertilized, then the body is still preparing for that mechanism of pregnancy. You get? So please, I've listed the five signs. But then I want us to take note of something. Some persons will be like, what about the apps and calendars? My dear sister, the apps and calendars are very okay and very nice. But then we can't depend solely on it all the time, because this app works with the information you give it. So let's take for instance that you didn't kind of check well and gave this app a wrong information. This app will give you more like a wrong data, or more like a wrong fertile day or something. We don't always depend on it, or the app is more like the app works with the information you gave it, so it gives you back what you give it. So working with an app is good, but then remember, it can't tell you the exact day you're ovulating, because it doesn't know, it's not your body, it doesn't know when you started ovulating. And then please, in case you want to avoid pregnancy with these signs and symptoms, with these signs are listed, please, you don't solely depend on this. Please still move to go to your healthcare provider so they can recommend some, or give you some contraceptive options which you can choose for. Whichever one works best for you, then you work with it. And then if you're trying to get pregnant with these signs are listed, please also take note that it doesn't always it won't always favor you, because there are other factors that could contribute to pregnancy and fertility. So you observe these signs, once you observe them and know the particular day you're ovulating, take note of it. Take note of it. Take note of these changes. Then you know which day is a fertile window or fertile day, so you can work best with it. And please, the most important thing I want you beautiful ladies to take note of, mothers, sisters, aunties, whatever you are, please, that this science, every woman should know her body, know your body, know what works best for you. What happens to woman A won't necessarily happen to woman B. So know your body system, know how your body operates and works for you. And if you please, if you found this video very, 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 very helpful, don't forget to like, share, comment, and search Nurse Quincy, and subscribe, and stay tuned for many, many, many more. If you have questions, you can drop them in the comment section. See you next time.